All right. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? I'm a minute early. I'm never early for anything. That's my goal for 2024. I'm going to be on time. I'm starting on time, 11:30 Eastern. We'll give everyone a second to jump in here and we're going to get going. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm so excited for this. I'm in my office, my home office, and this wall of fame, while people jump in, I'll just tell a quick story before we get started as people jump in. So I'm not going to start the 24 minutes until everybody's in. So this is a wall of my wall of fame behind me. This is my wall of fame. I collect a lot of hip hop art, which is appropriate. It's the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And when I started out in music, I had a record deal. And right after I did a show called Club MTV, my record company is like, "It's going to happen for you, Jesse. It's all going to click in now." And they whisked me to Pittsburgh to do my first concert ever. And when I landed in Pittsburgh, I got off a plane and there was a rack of magazines, like a magazine rack at one of the concession stands or whatever. I look at the magazine and like, that guy looks it's me on the cover of Rap Pages. I'm like, that's like an entrepreneur being on the cover of Forbes. I was like, this is unbelievable. No one told me I'm going to be on the cover of Rap Pages. Like, this is crazy. So I got the magazine. Grabbed all the magazines. I'm going to send them to everybody that I know, like everyone's getting a copy. As I'm waiting in line, I look at the headline of the magazine and right over my face in big letters, it said, "Are white rappers ruining hip hop?" I was the poster child for that. So anyway, this wall of fame behind me, it reminds me of that era. Anyway, hello, everybody. We're going to get started. Just wanted to give everyone a second to jump in here. In the meantime, I see we have people from Mexico here, Tennessee, Alpharetta, Georgia. I love it. Jersey, hello. Amazing. The chat room is blowing up. I love it. I'll be checking in. We're going to do, first of all, take out a pen because we're going to cover a lot in 24 minutes. And I only have one goal in the next 24 minutes, and that's to help everybody here plan a year that you're proud of. At the end of this 24 minutes, I want you guys to be excited that you're planning a year that you're really proud about. And I feel honored to be in a position to help you with this. This is my third year doing it. People get a tremendous amount of value out of this. I keep it short, 24 minutes or less, and the clock is started. And the stakes are high. Like, we don't have a lot of time to mess around and be like, and just wake up and wing it next year. So we're going to create a really good plan. For those that don't know me, I'm Jesse Itzler. I say that, but surprisingly, I was just on a run literally 30 minutes ago, and someone pulled up next to me in their car in my neighborhood and rolled down the window and said, "Jerry, are you Jerry from Instagram?" Like I'm a car sale. I was like, no, I'm not Jerry from Instagram. I'm Jesse Itzler. For those that don't know me, quick backstory. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had a very unconventional journey as an entrepreneur. And I know many of you have been here with me for a while, for years. So you know the story. But for those that don't, I started out in the music business. I was signed to a record label called Delicious Vinyl right out of college. I had a record out in the 90s. It didn't do so well. And then I had a series of very interesting jobs. I was a kiddie pool attendant. I sold carrot and celery sticks door to door. I sold chicken, shrimp, and meat door to door out of a food truck. I had a t-shirt company that failed. I had a marketing company that failed. A lot of things didn't work for me in my 20s. But I was a guest on a private plane when I was 28 years old. And when I landed, my partner and I were like, let's start a private jet company so we can fly like this. This is insane. And we built a company called Marquis Jet that went on to do $5 billion in sales. And we sold it to Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway's NetJets. Then I had a coconut water company with Mark Rampola, started a company called Zico Coconut Water, which I partnered with him on, and we sold it to Coca-Cola a couple of years later. I've had 5 exits in my life. I've had a lot of egg on my face too along the way. I'm a father of 4. I live in Atlanta, Georgia with my wife, Sara, who started and owned a company called Spanx. And we have 4 children. And like I said, with a busy life of family mixed with work, mixed with my mom who's getting older and a lot of responsibility. Having a plan is really important. I want to share with you guys how I plan my year to manage all of those things to really get the most out of it. You know, and the average American lives to be about 78 years old, and I'm going to turn 56 this year. 56, man. That means if I'm average, I got 22 summers left, and I love summers and I love my years, and I really want to maximize them. I don't want to wake up at the end of my journey and be like, yes, I was the 80% version of myself. Like nobody here signed up for that. And having a plan is a really important part of that. So as we go into December, I want to share how I plan, and I'm going to do it right now. Before we do that, anybody that ever gives a presentation or a talk, it's really important when you start a speech or a presentation, even if it's for your people in your office or at a meeting, you want to tell your audience what it is they're going to learn so they can and what you're going to talk about so they can follow along on the journey. So today I'm going to cover 3 things very, very quickly and very effectively. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how to close out your year. I think going into 2024 and closing, you have to first close out 2023. And I'm going to show you how I do that in about a minute from now. The second thing I'm going to talk about is why to even have a plan. Like, why even have a plan? Why not just go into 2024 and do what you did last year and wing it? We're going to talk about that. And the third thing is I'm going to get into specifically the system that I use to plan what ultimately will look like this. This is my plan for 2024. I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's start with closing out the year. So I think it's really important for everybody here. I always say, like, I love to get light in December. I love to go into 2024 with momentum. I think that's really important. I don't want to have like clutter, a lot of things on my mind. I don't want to be heavy, like emotionally going into the new year. So I have a very specific closeout routine that I do. And it might sound obvious. It might sound hokey, but I'm telling you, I've been doing it for a long time. And it really helps me like free up energy in my head to focus on my year and not like play catch up for things that are like leaking into the new year. So the first thing a couple of things that I do, everybody has their own method to closing out the year. But the first thing that I do to kind of get light is I work on my closet. Things that I don't wear, it feels great to me emotionally to donate. So I go through my closet, I look at the stuff I haven't worn. I'm like, this has been here for a really long time. And even some stuff that I have worn. And I'm just like, if it's a jump ball, whether or not I should keep it or donate it, I usually just ask myself one simple question. I say, does someone need this more than I need it? The answer is usually yes. It goes in the donate bin. So I try to really clean out my closet. It feels really good to walk into a closet that's not cluttered. I clean up my desk. I have a lot of papers and stuff on my desk. Like, I don't want that around. So I clear that out. I want to make sure I have a really good desk and a really clean email. I love to go delete all in my email. I like to start with 0 going into the new year. That's really important to me. Also with emails, I like to unsubscribe to things that are just clogging up my email. It drives me nuts. So I just spend about an hour and I go through my archive and I just delete or unsubscribe to things like that. My car, full clean out. I don't want a messy car in 2024. This might all sound irrelevant. And why is this on a planning call? It's very relevant. It's very relevant because it's an indication of what you are becoming going into the new year. I'm coming in light, man. I'm coming in with high energy and I'm coming in clean. My mail, my bills, all that kind of stuff. I go through it. Make sure that I'm on top of all my bills, make sure that I'm responding to all my mail. I'm canceling all my subscriptions and recurring payments that I don't need. I don't need AOL from 1994 anymore. So I'm going through all of that, again, in the spirit of getting light. And then most importantly, I write handwritten letters. I write handwritten letters to the people that have had a big impact on me this year. That might be someone that maybe for me, I was on a podcast. Maybe it was a vendor that really helped me with something at work. But I am really appreciative of the people that had an impact on me spiritually, emotionally, professionally. And I like to write between 25 to 50 handwritten letters. People remember it. It breaks through clutter. It's effective. And it's a great way of showing appreciation. So part of my closeout process for the year is to write handwritten letters. I've been doing it since I'm 22 years old, and I still do it, and people still comment to me on it. So if you want to really have an impact, that's a great strategy. And then lastly, I would just say for all the business owners out there, or even homeowners, just make sure you're going through your tips, your bonuses, all your reviews, just like a business would close out and have business reviews. I do that personally. I take inventory on 2023, what I've accomplished, the races that I've done, the wins and losses that I've had in business, what I didn't achieve, what I did achieve. And it doesn't, like, this whole process that I'm talking about of closing out the year, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it's really important. So even a couple of hours, you can knock out your whole kind of closing out the year process, and it'll really help you kind of like solidify and close the chapter of 2023 and move into 2024. Every business in America closes out the year. Every professional sports team has an exit interview with their players at the end of the season to talk about what they did good and what they did bad. So I don't have a committee. We don't have committees around us, but we can take a little bit of time and take a little inventory on what worked and what didn't. So before we get into planning, I would be at fault if I didn't talk about the importance to me in closing out my personal stuff for 2023 to start out 2024. The second thing I want to talk about is why have a plan. I feel like most of us and most people on this call, I don't want to speak for everybody, tends to play life on defense, meaning that their calendars fill up with other people's requests for their time, Zoom meetings, doctor's appointments, and all this stuff. And at the end of the year, your calendar's filling up with everybody else coming at you. You're playing defense and you don't have a ton to show for it. And I think it's really important in 2024 that we get excited about the year, that we're planning a year that we're excited about. And instead of playing defense, I flipped that model upside down, and we're about to play offense for 2024. We're going to lay out a system that will help you guys plan a year of adventure, success, something that you could be excited about. And most of us also, like, we live our lives in routine, wake up, go to work or work out, go to work, come home, dinner, kids, maybe go to sleep and repeat. And routines are great, but they can also be a rut. Like, you can't get better doing the same thing over and over again. And as you get older, creating newness is really hard. The only way you really get newness is if, like, you plan it. So I want to share with you a little bit of how I plan newness around my life. And I also want to say that it's important to plan because it's important to prioritize you. And it's important to put yourself, even before work, it's important to prioritize your health, what you want to do, and to get the most out of the year. So having a plan, there's an old saying that wars are won in the general's tent. Having a plan is critical. So now, how do I do it? So I have a very simple thing. So first of all, I just want to say this. I found that in business and life, it's like a Rubik's Cube, even planning. Like, when you don't know how to a Rubik's Cube in business, it's really hard. When you don't know how to do a Rubik's Cube, it's really hard. When you don't know how to do public speaking, it's really hard. When you don't know how to map out an effective year, it's really hard. But once you know how to do the Rubik's Cube, you can solve that in like 45 seconds. So once you break the code, it gets really easy. I've been doing this system since I'm like 21 years old. And man, I don't think I could have a better life. It's amazing. So like I mentioned, this is my 2024 already baked out. Kind of each color represents a different thing, whether it's travel or speaking or trips with my kids or my races. And I have an amazing 2024 and it's already fully baked. All I have to do is follow the script. All the things I want to do are already baked. So like my 24 is amazing. I just got to follow the thing I laid out. So here's how I plan my year. I love this. And for those that know this and have been following this, I know you can leave in the chat. what your years have been like and some of the things that you've achieved, just so people know that this thing works. So I do 3 things to start the year. Okay. The first thing that I do is something called the misogi. A misogi is an old Japanese ritual. And the notion around a misogi, and I've taken the liberty to change it a little bit. The notion around a misogi is you do one big year-defining thing every year. So like last year, I had a massive one. I rode my bike across America, but in 2015, I launched my first book, Living with a Seal. In 2017, I launched a business called 29029. You should be able to look back on your journey and at the end of 365 days, have one thing that really defines your year, like a real true year defining thing. So that could be for you, I'm going to run a 5K this year. I'm going to launch a podcast. I'm going to learn how to knit or sew. I'm going to I'm going to, maybe it's a crazy adventure that you want. I'm doing rim to rim to rim this year with my friends. But I think it's really important to have one big year defining thing. Now you might not know what that is now, but just having it on your radar, something that you're excited about, something that challenges you, something that you're maybe scared of, put it down on the calendar. Put it down on the calendar and prioritize you so other things don't fill up your schedule and you can't do it. Once it goes down, you start to build around that. So I encourage everybody here to choose one big, and there's 3,000 people, one big year-defining thing in 2024. That's called the misogi. The second thing that I do, there it is, MISOGI. Richard ran a 5K with his son in 2023. Jackson Hole and Whistler, 2020, Tracy did 29029. First music album, ran 2 100 milers. I mean, there's incredible stuff. The second thing that I do is every other month, I take a day of the weekend or maybe a whole weekend. So one day every 8 weeks, every other month, I do something called Kevin's Rule. Kevin's a great friend of mine who, obviously, I coined this after Kevin. I was on a trip with Kevin and our children. My son was like 8. His daughter was 9 at the time. And we went to Mount Washington in the middle of the winter, and we were camping out in the snow. I said, Kev, there's 8 billion people, man, in the world. 8 billion people. And we're the only people on Mount Washington. This is unbelievable. I said, how often do you do this? And Kevin lit up, man. He was like, oh, every other month I do something I normally wouldn't have done on a weekend. I said, what do you mean? He said, like, instead of watching the Georgia football game, I might take my kids fishing. I might do the polar plunge in Coney Island. I might go take a class or go to a concert or an event or go to a seminar or something I wouldn't have done. I said, well, why do you do that? That's amazing. Like, if I can't take one day out of every 8 weeks, my work life is way out of balance. He said, yeah, he said, well, look, I've been doing it ever since I graduated college. He said, if you're 30 and you do that until you're 80 years old, you just created 300, 6 times a year, a mini adventure, 6 out of 365 days, times 50 years of living. That's 300 mini adventures that you normally wouldn't have had. That is 50 year-defining misogis, 50 year-defining misogis, and 300 mini adventures. You won life. Like, what an incredible life. Work and all that, that's going to happen anyway. That's going to fill in around that. That's an amazing thing. So I put it on my calendar. I'm going to a basketball camp this year. I'm inviting my college friends and roommates up for 2 days at my house. I'm going to visit my mom and I'm treating my mom to something. I'm taking my kids on some one-on-one trips. It goes on the calendar. And the third thing, so I have 1 year defining thing, 6 mini adventures. And the third thing doesn't go on my calendar, but it's really important for me. Every quarter, I add a winning habit to my routine. One winning habit. So like, I don't drink enough water. The first quarter of 2024, I'm gonna have 100 ounces of water every day. I'm never gonna be late to a meeting. It started today. I'm never gonna be late to a meeting. I'm gonna add a 10-minute a day meditation practice to my life. So if you add one giant thing, do everything the same in 2023. Don't even change anything. Add one misogi, 6 mini adventures, and you layer in 4 winning habits. Just by definition, you're going to have an unbelievable year, a better year probably than 2023. So that's what I do. I put those things on my calendar first. I don't have them all flushed out maybe today, but when I do, they go on my calendar. I like to use a paper calendar. I like to use my calendar because I'm visual and I like to see everything kind of in a 365 days so I can see where I'm spending my time and where my gaps are, and I can track towards my goals. And it also helps me having it on something that's paper. It helps me kind of visualize where I'm going, but also keep track of my accomplishments because it's hard for me to scroll. I use my phone for my appointments and stuff like that, but the stuff that like lights me up that I'm excited about, I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it on like, I need that. I need things that I look forward to. You know, we all have enough pressure with work and our kids and everything. Like, put something that you're excited about down. Prioritize yourself before your work. Like at the end of the year, it should be a year that you're proud of. Like you feel like we all have one thing in common. We want to feel accomplished, but we control that by putting in what we want to do. Like newness doesn't just happen. You have to plan it. So I do those things and I put them down on my calendar. And then there's other things that I do that are important to me. I do one-on-one trips with my kids. I have 4 children. So I'll do a one-on-one trip with all 4 of my kids. I put down a Valentine's Day dinner with my daughter. I do quarterly trips with my wife. They might even be staycations, but we have 4 times a year. We have date night once a week. They all go on my calendar and they're unwavering. It's unwavering. I have a rule that I'm never too tired for my kids. So if my kids want to have a baseball catch and I just came home and it's 8 p.m. and I'm tired, that can't trump the baseball catch. It doesn't go on my calendar, but that's a rule of mine going into 2024. So what are we at? We're at 22 minutes. I got 2 more minutes. Let me give you a couple of things on planning your day. So by the way, are there any questions on that? First of all, I'm nervous today. I never get nervous. I am actually nervous because this matters to me. I'm super passionate about this. I feel a tremendous responsibility having so many people, and I'm honored. I'm honored that so many people have tuned into this today to listen to me. But I also feel like I have a lot to share. I've been in business for 35 years. I've had success and failure. I've tried a lot of different systems. To me, this is the simplest. Goals, resolutions, all that. I'm not saying they're bad, but it doesn't work for me. This works for me. Everybody here can have a big goal and everybody here can take 6 mini adventures, and don't use money as an excuse. Oh, Jesse, no, money makes it easier for sure. But when I was doing the polar plunge in Coney Island, it didn't cost anything. That trip to Mount Washington I took with Kevin and my kids, $18 to park and a sleeping bag. All right. I'm not talking about going and climbing Mount Everest. I'm talking about what do you love to do? Do it. Because your relevant years shrink like this. I'm 55. I just rode my bike across country with my friends. I'm warming up now. Took me a minute. When I was biking across the country, I didn't see any 80-year-olds on their bike. When I was wakeboarding this summer, I didn't see any 80-year-olds doing backflips in the lake. Like the window to do things that you love to do, it goes away. 2024 should be the year of urgency for everybody here. It's now. It's like I went with Kevin to climb. Now I'm going to go over. I need 5 minutes bonus time because I got more to share. I went with Kevin to Mount Washington to climb Mount Washington with my friends. I told it's only 4 miles to the top in the winter. Yeah, the 24 minutes is done. We're going. Stay with me. I go with Kevin. I'm telling everybody we're going to climb Mount Washington. They're like, "Oh, are you a climber? Do you climb? I climb mountains. That's only 4 miles." Kevin said it's not technical. But it's dangerous in the winter. It's super cold. So I blasted out. I'm going to Mount Washington. People are like, amazing. You're going to the top. I'm going to the top. We have a pact. If we don't get to the top by 1 o'clock, we're turning around because it gets dark, the temps drop, the winds pick up, it gets really dangerous. In fact, Mount Washington in the winter is one of the most dangerous mountains to climb. We get to about a quarter mile at 1 o'clock from the top. I'm like, Kev, it's 1. He's like, yeah, we're close to the top. My friend's like, we got. I'm like, I don't know, man. We said 1 o'clock when we were of sound mind. We keep going. Doesn't feel right to me. 1:15, 1:30. I said, guys, I'm out. We're going back. We bail, we go out. I come back. My friend's like, did you get to the top? I'm like, no. I come home. I said to Sarah, I'm so mad. We didn't make it to the top. My friends are, this is crazy. She said, sweetie, get a guide that can help you navigate, train for it, and go back next winter and knock it out. And I'm like, next winter, I'm going back on Saturday. Are you thinking like, oh, I'm going to do this next in 2025? I'm saving the good wine? It doesn't work like that, man. We're at an age where people my friends are getting diagnosed with stuff. 2020, you're playing for 2025? I'm 55. My mom's 90. Let's look at life in a 5-year window. Let's look at life in a 5-year window. And let's look at my life in a 5-year window. 5 years from now, my oldest son's in college. There's no more family dinners. He's gone. My mom, she's 96, 97. God willing, man. 96, 97. Like there's a chance our grandparent, Sarah's parents, my parent, I don't know. I don't know. I'm 60 in 5 years. My kid, I'm almost an empty nester. It's now. Those family dinners are 2024. The race you wanted to run, 2024. The podcast you wanted to start, 2024. The trip you wanted to take, 2024. Get excited about 2024. Tell the world, this is my year. Put a post up when we're done. Hashtag it, 2024 is my year. Declare it. Put a flag in the ground. Like, send a signal to yourself that this is my year to dominate the year. Because you don't have the luxury of waiting to 2025 because you don't have a crystal ball. And you certainly don't want to have the regret that, like, yes, man, I was the 80% version of myself. I was the 80% version of myself when it's over. Let's shift gears for 1 second. Planning your day. Planning your day. I'm a big believer in evening routines. People talk about morning routines. By the way, give me 9 more minutes. I'm a big believer in evening routines. People talk about morning routines, and they're important. But to me, my day starts the night before. I lay out my day the night before. What are the best CEOs in the country? They have 3. The best CEOs are like 2 or 3 assistants. They walk in and they get a piece of paper and it says, oh, Kate, you have to be here at 9. At 10, I'm going to whisk you here. 11, you have a lunch meeting. 12, we're going to come here for a Zoom. We don't have 3 assistants. But the competition's too good. We can't wing it. So the night before, I lay out my day. I'm running at 7. I'm taking my kids in carpool at 8. 9 o'clock, I have a call. 10. And I follow the script. Having an evening routine where you lay out the day before is really important. I made a list. I call these vitamins. You can do this too. Great exercise. If I said money wasn't an issue and time wasn't an issue, and you were going to map out your perfect day, what would be the 5 or 10 things that you would want to do during the day? I call them vitamins because when I was a kid, my mom used to take your vitamins to get all the nutrients and stuff that you need to be strong. What do you need? For me, running. I need to run. Sauna and steam. I love that. I love cold plunges. I love playing with my kids. I love going on walks with Sarah. I don't love it, but Sarah likes to spend some time and talk. That goes on my list. I'm not a huge talker. So I made a list of all the things that I love to do. Now I play this game called Spelling Bee that the New York Times has on their app. I love it. I made a list of the 10 things every day. Those are my vitamins. I can't do them all every day, but you better believe every day I take 1 or 2 vitamins on that list for me. I take 1 or 2 of those vitamins every day for me. because if my wife or my work take away the things I love to do, I'm going to resent them. I don't want to resent my wife. I don't want to resent my boss. I don't want to be a boss that people resent because I'm taking away what they love to do. But if I check the Jesse box, now my wife wants to go to the opera and I don't like the opera, I don't want to go to the opera. But if I ran and I saw it and I did the stuff I love, of course, I show up so much better. If I have a big misogi on my calendar, I show up better. It makes me more interesting. People in the kitchen at lunch at the office, like, what? Oh, you're doing rim to rim to rim. Tell me about it. The more you experience, the more you have to offer. So this experience-based living is so important. So I plan the night before. I try to do 2 or 3 vitamins. I try to create early momentum in my day by getting early morning wins. That could be as simple as like cleaning up my room or making my bed or going for an early run. But I try to do that as well. So just a couple of thoughts in planning your day. So quick summary. All right. Having a plan is really important. Creating a year that you're proud of, declaring it to the world. Man, this is my year, is really important. Clearing out and closing out 2023, really important. For me, putting things on a calendar, a big calendar, really important. Having a misogi, a year-defining event, 6 mini adventures, creating a new winning habit every quarter, for a 24-minute webinar. Pretty good advice. It's pretty good advice. It'll get you pretty far. And then the last thing I would say is for 2024, the most important thing, because sometimes your misogi calls you. Sometimes your goals aren't the goals you chose. They choose you. So like when my dad has Alzheimer's, that chose me. I didn't choose that. That chose me. So sometimes you have to show up for things that you didn't expect, and your year gets turned upside down. They don't tell you that in Google, but that happens. Like when you search how to plan, they don't say your year might get turned upside down. The one thing that we all control here is our attitude in 2024 and how we show up for people. How we show up for people. Taylor, who's with me, just ran a 100-mile race. I'm still bummed that I couldn't go because I had something with my family, that a family reunion at my house. You show up for people. 2024 should be the year of showing up because it's free and everybody can do it. Call them, handwritten letter, thank you, congratulate, like be a good human in 2024. What else can I talk about? All right, real quick. Thank you guys. I know I also just want to let you guys know that for anybody that wants to do more training with me in 2024, I'm really excited about this, but I'm launching a new program in 2024, a live training program called the Roundtable. Very similar to this, where there'll be 10 different lectures that I'm doing based around business, networking, parenting, all live calls, how to run a race, where I'll be doing things like this, short little webinars around the topics that I think matter the most to people. It's called the Roundtable. It's my 7th year of doing coaching, and we're starting it on the 1st of January. This year, I'm doing it a little bit different. In addition to the live calls, I'm also going to be doing expert-led workshops on specific topics. For example, how to write a book, how to start a business, how to run my first race. So topics that'll be like little breakout workshops throughout the year as well. You know, I love the community we've been able to build. So if anybody's looking for kind of life coaching that incorporates business, mindset, wellness, all of it, it's going to be like my best practices in webinar live formats like this. I love live because you can react to the chat room and you can share things that happen real time. This year, there'll be a group-led app, so to speak, where you can access stuff. If you can't make the live calls, there'll be on-demand playback for the entire 12 months. and there'll be great networking opportunities within the community. So Alex, you can put the link in there. It's called the Roundtable. If anybody wants to do it, it's like $62 a month. Some of these programs are incredibly expensive. I wanted to price it like very affordable. It's like the cost of like going to a movie with two people. It's $747 for the year, which comes out to $62 for the month. And as a bonus for anybody that wants to join in the next 48 hours, we're including the entire Normal's Broken course that I did last year. It's a 12 video program about how to just do things unconventionally to get unconventional results in all areas of your life. So I'm really proud of that program. It was a $400 course. But if you guys sign up in the next 48 hours. So I know a lot of people have been DMing me about that. So I wanted to share it all with you guys. It's called the Roundtable. I'm super psyched for it. And that's the only coaching program that I'm doing this year other than the premier program that I work with, executives, et cetera. So yeah, I'm excited. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me see. Any questions in the chat room that I can answer real quick? I went a little bit over. Not bad for me though. I'm long-winded, but we got the meat of this in 24 minutes. God, can you guys pick a couple of questions? Because it's going kind of quick. I can't even read it. Yeah. I just want to say, like, I still get nervous. Like, people always ask, do you get nervous when you speak? And I get excited when I speak, but I'm super prepared. I do that basically for a living. But this, I was nervous because I feel a tremendous responsibility. I feel like if you're in the coaching space, it comes with tremendous responsibility. And I want to make sure that I give advice that like has come from me, not that I've read about, but like that I've battle tested and share things from my experiences that have worked for me and haven't worked for me. And I'm telling you, like, New Year's resolutions haven't worked for me. They really haven't. This very simple system of like getting a calendar, putting a big thing down, 6 mini adventures, adding a winning habit, like over time really has had an impact on me. Like the consistency of it has had a big, because I'm not asking like to upend my entire life. It's like, all right, I'm gonna do these 3 things and I'm gonna stay with it year over year. And like, it's made me like do some incredible things. I've done Ultraman. I've rode my bike across the country. I've learned incredible skills. I wanted to learn how to free dive. I wanted to learn how to ride a motorcycle. These are all Kevin's Rule things that I've done. Like, it works, man. It works. Let's see. Are there any questions you guys can pull up? Oh, the sticky notes. Yeah. So when you get the calendar, we sell this. They come with sticky notes like this. And I just assign a color. Each color represents a different thing. It means your calendar, first of all. You can do whatever you want with it. But for me, like orange is my travel. Yellow are my races. This is 29029 over here. This is all travel. This is speaking. So I have different colors that represent different things. And then what I like about sticky notes, what I love about it is plans change. I can move this around when dates change. I get to see the colors. And as you get the calendar and you use the sticky notes, you'll know what each one represents. Green are my kids. So the green are things that I'm doing with my children. I'm taking my son to Washington, D.C. Putting it on the calendar, there's 365 days. If I invest 20 to 25 of those days, that's not even 10% of the year with stuff around that's not even 10%. Stuff around my family and things that I want to do, that's friggin' amazing. And if I do that 10 years in a row, that's 250 things I've done with my kids and my friends. Like, that's what I'm talking about, man. It's like prioritizing you and your life first. Yeah, everybody in the executive program uses the calendar in the premier program. If you're interested, I didn't talk about that. You can just email us. It's info@jesseitzler.com. info@jesseitzler.com if you have any interest in that. That program only has 30 spots. And last year we had 100%. 90% retention rate, which is insane. And so we opened up 10 more slots this year. Yeah. What other questions?
Touch on a few more points about the roundtable, which are most excited about.
The roundtable? Well, I mean, I love doing live calls like this. I feel like that's the best way for me to give real-time input versus like recording a video. No knock on anybody that does that, by the way. Everyone has their own style. I like live. I like being able to field questions. And I picked the topics that I thought were most important. How to make new friends. I think that's important. I met, of the 10 guys that went on my bike across America, I only knew, and they're like my best friends now, I only knew one of them 10 years ago. So like making new friends as you get older and getting rid of friends, by the way, people change. I change. Getting rid of aggravation when you get older, or maybe friends that are high aggravation, is important. So I'm going to talk about that. People don't talk about it. Networking, business. I mean, I think I've been in business for 35 years. So obviously I want to share things that I've learned. I don't have the energy to start another business anymore. I don't think right now, at least with my children, but I have the energy to share what I've learned and share best practices and what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me. And that's what I'll do in the roundtable. It's also like people ask me like, why are you doing that? Like, you know, it's insanely rewarding for me. Like this is rewarding. When I see people and they're like, I haven't seen my mom, you know, because I really talk a lot about the importance of making amends, family, etc. A lot of people have gone on trips in my program to see their parents and they thank me. Like, you know, that I would have never have taken that trip. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I showed up, etc. It was never go to here. This is a book I'm working on. Like this stuff is important and people don't talk about it, you know? And I think that, you know, on a program like that, it's $60 a month or $700, which I'm not poo-pooing or belittling at all. It's, you know, but if you could get a couple of nuggets out of that in the course of a year that positively impact your life, maybe they help you get a sale or a promotion or show up better. I've had mentors my entire life before the Instagram that I've learned from that have had played a huge role in where I am today. From a health perspective, Harvey Diamond, from a business perspective, Bob Sillerman, that have really influenced me. And I'm a compilation of the habits, the best habits of the people I've met through my 55-year journey on Earth. When I had Marquis Jet, I was 20-something, late 20s. We were flying the who's who of athletes, CEOs, entertainers, executives. I was obsessed with their habits. How do you live rich? My dad owned the plumbing supply house. How do you live rich? Where do you vacation? How do you spend your money? What restaurants do you go to in Dallas? I want to know everything. And I am a walking compilation of those conversations of all the best. What time do you get up? What time do you go to sleep? What newspapers do you read? Like I was a sponge for that in my 20s and 30s. And I feel like I can offer that to people. That's a really good, I did all that research. I lived on the monastery for you. I can tell you what I learned living on the monastery. So I've always been curious and a learner. And now I'm a sharer, man. I got a lot to share.
And all the topics.
Yeah. All the topics are on jesseitzler.com. I've already laid out, other than the workshops, all the topics for the roundtable. Can you post the link again, Sutton, for anyone interested in that? Yeah, it's going to be great. Sutton, are there payment plans?
Yeah, so we have the typical checkout payment plan.
Yeah, there's a checkout plan at a payment plan at checkout. See, by the way, we don't even have a sales rep on my team. Like there's no salesperson at my company. Like it's so bootstrappy, grassrooty, hopefully authentic would be a word. This is the only way I can get the message out about it. So here I am, but I'm happy to answer any questions. More questions. Anything else? We're good. There will be some Q&As after the roundtables, but also I'll be addressing them in the chat. Public speaking will be something that we talk about for sure. I think that's what?
The public speaking one.
Yeah, the public speaking one we did last year was amazing. I'll redo it this year. It was public speaking, not just like to give a keynote, but also public speaking for money raising, public speaking for presentations, because it's completely different than giving a keynote. Public speaking, if giving a keynote, if you have to give if you want to give a presentation. Public speaking is probably the most important skill set, or one of the most important skill sets you can learn. And I don't think I could take everybody from a baseline of 0 to getting a bazillion hits on a TED Talk, but I do think I can share tips that can make everybody more confident and lay out a format that people, like I said, it's a Rubik's Cube. Once you get the format, whoa, that's way different. Quick story. I got a couple of minutes. If you guys have a couple of minutes, let me give a quick story. When I turned 50, I wanted to make a list of the 50. I made a list. I didn't want to. I made a list of the 50 things I wanted to do that I never learned how to do in my life, like ride a motorcycle. I wanted to get really good at ping pong. I wanted to learn how to ballroom dance. I made a list and I started bringing in coaches to help me learn those things. The first coach that I had was in freediving. So when the freediving coach came, they wanted to get a baseline. So they put my head underwater. And by the way, don't ever do this alone. If you ever holding your breath underwater, you want a spotter. And every 15 seconds, you want to give a signal with your fingers so they know you didn't pass out. There's something called shallow water blackout. Very dangerous. So you want to have a spotter, which I did. And they're like 15 seconds. I'm like, I can hold my breath. I'd run a 100-mile race. Miss Instructor, we're going to be here a really long time while I'm holding my breath. So you might want to go for lunch and come back because I will still be holding my breath. 15 seconds, boom, I give the signal. 30 seconds, I come up for air. I'm like, I can only hold my breath for 30 seconds. Retest me. They put me in 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Two lessons later. By the way, there's no correlation between holding your breath underwater and being a runner. 0. 2 lessons later, they retest me. 3 minutes. I 6x'd it in 2. It's the Rubik's Cube. I didn't know you have to do a breathe up. There's a technique to holding your breath underwater. Once you learn the techniques and the strategies of business, of networking, parenting, sleep, how to write a book, public speaking. Once you get that Rubik's Cube, man, it becomes a lot easier. So that's what I'm doing in the roundtable. I'm trying to be the how-to version, the Rubik's Cube version in the categories that I feel qualified to talk about. Public speaking is one of them. Any other questions in the chat? I have, so how to avoid burning out? It depends on what. I think one of the best ways to prevent burnout is to do things like outside, let's say like burnout in work is, first of all, you have a work resume and a life resume. Let's just take a step back. You have a work resume and a life resume. I've always felt like your life resume is as important, if not more important, than your work resume. Your work resume is going to happen. It's going to fill in. You're going to climb up the corporate ladder. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you take a shot at something yourself, but you're always focused on this. But we don't spend a lot of time on this, our life resume. I've always found that one way to prevent burnout at work is to put things on your life resume, on your calendar, that you're excited about. It makes, like, when you're excited about something, the clock speeds up. Your attention, like, it's easy to get bottlenecked if it's just work, and then you sacrifice your life resume. So I've been able to avoid burnout a lot by balancing my workload with things that I'm excited about. And that's really helped me. I also take breaks. If I feel like I'm like even just recently, I said to Sarah, I'm like, I need to go away from the kids. I love you guys, but man, I need time away. That's okay. You know what she said? Yes, you do. Go take it. And I let her do the same thing. Like, We need to recharge. You got to unplug. You got to plug the phone in the wall once in a while. So I'm super aware of that.
How do you sync your calendar with Sarah?
How do I sync my calendar? Are you guys answering any questions in the chat too? Because yeah. By the way, I'm here in my office with Alex Sutton, who's running the roundtable with me, and Taylor, who's over here. Taylor helps me with my social, and Bianca. And that's our team. That is a good part of our team, small team. So I sync my calendar with Sarah. So like I am a huge calendar person, obviously. I also have a desk calendar that I use. And I have a planner that I travel with. So like I take planning super seriously. It's really important to me. I feel like if you don't plan, it won't happen. Sarah and I sync our day-to-day stuff on our phone in like a Google Calendar or whatever. But we meet on our calendar minimum monthly and usually and as needed. So like she has a big calendar too. And we're constantly like going over it like kind of month by month. Like our first quarter is fully synced, fully planned. She knows the days that I'm traveling. They're on her calendar. I know the dates that she's traveling. It's on my calendar and the stuff that we're doing together. So, and then we have a big calendar. We're like the calendar family for our kids stuff that hangs right by our kitchen that just has like their day-to-day activities for kids, different sports, multiple sports. So, you know, every day I can see that. I'm visual. That's why I like calendars, man. I'm visual. I need to see it. So that's how we do it. Yeah.
How can you reinvent yourself later?
How do you reinvent yourself later in life? Well, Gandhi said it best. He said, learn like you'll live forever, live like you'll die tomorrow. So I think even as you get older, like I'm very curious. I love learning. So my dad started painting when he was 80 years old. He discovered his love for art at 80 on a trip to Italy. And the last 12 years of his life, he spent every day painting. So he completely reinvented himself at 80. He got a lifeline, literally, at 80. And, you know, he got it by doing what I just said, taking trips, opening his eyes to the world, trying different things, and seeing what he liked. Like, you know, you don't reinvent yourself watching Netflix. You reinvent yourself by trying things and being open-minded and curious and wanting to. Like, if you don't want to get better and you don't want to have a great year, well, obviously you do, you're here. But if you don't, then like, it's not going to like magically, like you're not going to get a letter one day that says how to have a great year, you know, sit on your couch. You have to go and like, go out there and do stuff.
What about the opposite for younger people, teenagers? What should they do?
Teenagers? You know, I think there's no silver bullet. Everybody's different with different interests and different personalities. But I would say this as a rule of thumb for people that are like teenagers, because of Instagram and they're seeing people in front of airplanes and young kids like with Rolexes, like I made $1 zillion overnight. Good for them. That's their story. That doesn't mean it's your story, if it's even true. And I think it's really important in your 20s to be 20. Like I had a lot of friends that like lost their 20s working on Wall Street. You don't get your 20s back. Be a 20-year-old. Have fun. Go on trips. Take classes. Explore. Go out at night. Go to bars. Bartender. Take a weird job. Volunteer. Like you're 20. But for me, if it was me, it doesn't mean don't work. That doesn't mean don't get a job. But be 20. Like, I mean, it breaks my heart. Like kids are like, oh man, I'm 19. I'm like, I'm 20. My friends already, who cares what your friend is making? Good for them. That's amazing for them. It's like, do you know how many billionaires there are in this world, in the country? I'll help you. There's 750 billionaires. So that there's 250 million Americans. So that means you have like a 1 in 11 million chance, is my math is right? Yeah. Oh, forget Americans in the world. 8 billion in the world, 750 million Americans here. That's 1 in 11 million chance. My math is right. Of becoming a billionaire. So like, while other people are like, oh yeah, man, you could be a billionaire. Like, no, really, honestly, it's pretty hard to do that. So why don't you go focus on being really good at being you and being happy and doing what you love to do and get really good at that and let the chips fall where they fall instead of trying to chase everybody else. Like that's a very bad strategy. And it never ends because there's only one person can be the richest. So if that's not you, you're not going to be happy. Like it doesn't even make sense. Yes. Matt Rodderman, be 20 when you're 48. 100%. Listen, having a 20-year-old side and like we all have like an inner 8-year-old and, it's fun for that inner 8-year-old to come out. It's fun for that inner 8-year-old to come out. Anyway, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. I'll resend this for those that came in late. And you can watch this for as long as you want in playback if you missed some stuff. We covered a lot in almost 1 hour webinar. Yeah. Let me know what you thought on Instagram. Feel free to repost this, tag me. I love it. That makes me feel good. And I appreciate you guys and girls taking the time to spend this hour. Damn, man. I knew it. They told me it wouldn't be 24 minutes. I'm like, no, I'm only 24 minutes. And here we are, 12:26. All right. You guys got 3 times the value, but it was free. So you got unlimited value. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Have a great close out the year. Have a great 2024. And if you do those 3 things, Mustogi, Kevin's rule, and add new habits, at the end of the year, you see me in an airport, give me a bear hug. Give me a bear hug in the airport and be like, man, I did what you did on the 2023 closeout webinar, how to plan 2024. And I had an amazing 2024. Thank you. I want the bear hug. Be safe, everybody. Happy holidays. See you guys in the airport.